Along with Chuck Davison, I'm Lyle Stokes. Welcome to the show tonight. We're going to talk about upgrading your equipment, whether you need to or not, or how often you need to or not. And we'll probably get into do a little talking about some catfishing and trying to find some big fish. How's it going tonight, Chuck?
Pretty good. Trying to figure out where to find some big fish at.
Yeah, well, the way we got it, the rivers are all flooded at major flood stage, and I'm not real sure it's going to get any better for a while. You got anything like that down your way?
Nah, they're hardly giving us any current at all down here on the Coosa River. Hadn't had a chance to get up to the Tennessee lately, but down here they don't look like the flatheads are holding up yet, and the blues may be coming off. So maybe we can get a few in the boat here in the next week or so.
Well, that'd be good. I haven't talked to anybody, and I understand the blues are coming off around here, but I haven't been out. It's just been been kind of rough, and actually been checking into doing some stuff on Mark Twain Lake. I'm not too much of a lake fisherman, but I'm considering going up there and looking around just because I hear that they are coming off a nest on the lake, and that'd be something to check into until the rivers kind of get down where it's a tolerable level.
Oh yeah, I like doing. I like going back and forth. I like trying to hit the lakes and stuff during the week when during the summer, especially when most of the recreational boating and water skiers and jet skis and stuff aren't out in the lake. On the weekends, I hit the skinny water to try to stay away from all that.
Absolutely, them guys, them jet skis, they can be kind of a pain, but they want to get out there and play on the water too. One thing that I have an advantage on is we're able to go out and mess around sometimes during the middle of the week, and everybody else is working. And sometimes I'll just take off, and Cindy and I'll go out and free fish or look for spots and stuff when everybody else is not able to, and that makes a big difference to me.
Oh yeah, this you know when I take vacation, I try to get in a week during the summer or so, and during that time, I don't even fish on the weekends at all. I just go ahead and pick out a few days during the week and hit it pretty hard, and you don't hardly have any trouble unless it's right around Fourth of July, something like that.
Right, right. Well, I know this is going to be a major weekend for boaters and people, and everybody needs to remember to be safe out there and not get themselves in any trouble or anything because it will be a mess with everybody trying to get everything going and having their barbecues and fireworks and all that stuff. So need to make sure everybody's safe and not get themselves into a bind in any way.
Yeah, and it's being out fishing those channel edges and stuff during those times. There's so many people that out in their boats for the first time, never owned boats in their life, and they decide to get one, bring their families out. Most of them don't get out but a few times a year anyway. So um, they really don't know how to be considerate. They don't know. Half the time they don't even see you sitting in the on the channel edge. So some of them just look at you like, "What are you doing out here in the middle of the lake anyway?" So
Right.
I don't even try to fish the lakes on any holiday weekend ever. I just if I do, I hit skinny water, and that's at night.
One of the things that I want to mention to everybody up here, like I say, we are flooded, major flood stage. And if the rivers are not at major flood stage, especially the Mississippi, it will be in a few days. And these guys getting out this weekend and playing around, if they're going to use an anchor, make sure that they have a knife handy in case somebody's leg or something gets tangled up in the rope or something where you can get them cut loose and get them out of there. You don't need anybody getting drowned or hurt, uh, cause any difficulties. But that's something that we do. We try to keep a knife at each end of the boat, so if somebody does get tangled up in an anchor rope or whatever, you can just cut them loose and go on.
Yeah, and those, you got to watch out for those big logs coming down the river and stuff. And sometimes you can't hardly see them when that, they'll disguise themselves coming down in those wakes and just stay in the low areas. And you really don't see them until they get really close. And if one of those slam the front of your boat and hit your anchor rope, it's going to pull your front end under. And you don't have very long at all to cut that anchor rope if that happens. So you need to have one handy for sure if you're out doing that.
That is correct because I've had anchors get hung up before, and it's really a bad situation if you're in heavy current and you get stuck in a spot like that. My oldest son and I had a deal like that a few years ago, and I kept telling Tony, I said, cut the rope, cut the rope. He said, well, I don't want to lose the anchor. I said, man, anchors last you worries. We buy more anchors. Just cut that rope and get going. But it was a pretty small boat at the time, and people need to remember to be careful in this high water because it's not just anchor ropes. Um, there's a lot of other things that can happen in high water, and things can get away from you in a hurry if you're not really careful. When we're talking about upgrading, Chuck, um, I assume that you do some upgrading. The biggest thing that I see that needs to be upgraded from my perspective is electronics. It changes yearly, and affordability is something that makes it hard to upgrade with all the new stuff. But personally, as far as reels and rods and different things. I don't usually upgrade every year on that. I have upgraded all my anchors to cat rivers, which has been a major uh, plus for me. The electronics and stuff we upgraded the year before last, and I'm hoping it'll make it another year or two to get the new off of the new Onyx and stuff like that to where uh, when I upgrade it, they'll have all the bugs worked out of it. But I'm not sure how often you upgrade your products and your equipment, but we upgraded a boat here a couple years ago, and it'll probably be a few years before we do that again. So I'm not big on upgrading unless I'm having a problem with something. The anchor deal, we was having problems with them holding and found something that had worked. I don't trade out my braided line every 2 or 3, 4 years. It lasts so much longer. There's no stretch in it. When I was using monofilament, I was trading it out every year, and the braid I just switch ends on after a year or two, and it's brand new on the other end. But I plan on my rods lasting me for 4, 5, 10, 8, 10 years, and reels. If you keep them clean and maintained, I haven't bought a new reel just because I needed one for a long time. Now I do replace some and get some new ones because I want them or I want to try something, but I don't really just wear them out. I'm not sure how you go about that.
Yeah, well, I really was reading the reviews and stuff when the Pen Fathoms came out, and I had to try one, and I liked them, so I just went ahead and upgraded a few of my rods on that, and also with the Alpha Mars because I like I like those new types of reels. The drags are really heavy, and being up where I fish on the Tennessee River, I got to get them big blues up in a hurry off that structure because with my lower drags, when I was using around 15 to 18 pounds, I couldn't turn them around and they would hang me up really quick where I would find them at. So when I found something that I could lock down and hope everything would hold, I went ahead and got them, and they seem to be working out pretty good right now. But um, for electronics, I've had my unit for 3 years now, and just by having a Humminbird and doing the updates, um, I don't see any reason for me upgrading yet. Um, Maybe I might upgrade when I eventually get the 360 unit. I'm really not in no hurry to get it right now anyway, but um, the Navionics cards, keeping them updated um, on the internet, that's pretty important. They're always changing. Um, the what rivers they have mapped, and a lot of the lakes that's got pretty good flows, a lot of the structures and channels and everything, changing them a pretty good bit. They go back and fix a lot of mistakes that they've made. So I try to keep my my Navionics chip upgraded. Um, but as far as that, that's about all the upgrades I do.
On your, you was talking about the Navionics chip. Um, I don't know the Tennessee River. I don't know how you get as far as floods, but the Mississippi, especially the Mississippi, but the Missouri also, where we fish a lot. Every year when we get a flood like we're getting ready to have now, certain things change. Sandbars will move. Um, some of the dikes will fill in front of the dikes, and some of them will fill in behind the dikes, and the ones that are filled in now may have a big old deep hole behind them where it didn't used to have, and things like that. Do you have that issue down there where you're at?
No, not a whole lot because we, right below the dams, when they run the floodgates heavy, we may see some big trees and some so-called log jam type structures moved around from heavy current and that part of the river and stuff is so old and the dams have been there so long. It's mostly just slight erosion is what we see around here. Um, you know, we have, we're dammed up on the Coosa probably every 30 miles. On the Tennessee River, except for Wilson Lake, its average is about 60 miles per reservoir. So, we really don't have currents that flow heavy enough that really, does a whole lot of rapid changing.
I see. When when you talk about heavy current on the Tennessee River, how much current are you talking about?
Well, we're talking about when they run floodgates, and we got a lot. They really can't register it when they got the floodgates open. When they're running real heavy, they'll run probably, you know, 58, 75,000 CFS. Um, here lately, we haven't had, if they get up in the, 20s, that's doing good here lately. On the Coosa rivers, if they run three generators, which most of our dams only have three, there depends on the size of the generator. Some of them are 8,000 CFS a piece. Some of them are 16, 12. We usually about the most that Alabama Power will provide us to try to keep flood control is probably around 32 on the Coosa. But when the floodgates are open, you really can't register it because they really don't know exactly how many gallons are actually passing through the floodgates either. So
Right.
they just try to monitor it by the lake levels after that, and try to keep the levels by opening and closing the floodgates to try to keep one lake from flooding the other. They will every other lake on the Coosa is they use to try to use from so you'll have a flood break. Um, they'll drain it way down in the wintertime. It'll go about 6 foot from summer pool, and because during the wintertime you don't have the summer weather and stuff to dry up the water and help control the moisture and everything. So if you have heavy rains in the winter, they're relying on dumping the water out of the full lakes into the ones that they let down to control during the winter. In the summer, we hardly have that trouble unless they'll just run the floodgates here and there, but pretty much they can keep it in control during the summer.
I see. Well, we have an issue with the Corps of Engineers thinking they know how to control these rivers, and they hold back the water in these lakes. There's only a couple of dams on the Missouri River, and they think they got to hold that water up for them people up in the northern states. And what they end up doing is sticking it to us guys down here in the middle part of the United States and on further south. They need to. They have all the dams, and instead of keep building up the dikes and stuff on the inside, the levees. Instead of keep making them taller and taller, they need to learn how to manage the water that they have. And there's them lakes up there's got plenty of water. The people are not going to run out of water, and that way they don't have to flood us every year. It used to be the floods that we get floods, it'd be in February, March, April, and here lately it's been May, June, July, and there's just no excuse for the way they're doing that. And I know there's going to be some arguments about that. There is no reason to hold that water back that long. And even on the Mississippi River up in South Dakota and places like that where they're holding that water up there and then it's gushing it down here, and they're messing up the spawn for fish and different things. And when it busts over them levees and it floods all them farmers' crops and blows out levees and gets to towns, it's just ridiculous. But I don't pay any attention to the number of CFMs of water that comes to the dam. I go by the miles per hour of current when we're on the river, and a lot of times the Missouri will have 4, 5, 6, 7 mile an hour current and more, and Mississippi usually it's not quite so bad, but now it's way up there around 6 to 8 with all the dams are wide open. So there's plenty of water flowing for us right now.
Yeah, we've there a lot of these communities around these lakes that they let the levels down in the wintertime for the flood control. They let them down about 6 foot, 7 foot, and it dries up all the sloughs. So around these lakes you don't have real nice scenery like you do around the summer. You'll go to somebody's house and all out in front of their house would be just mud or dirt. And by fishing all these lakes on the Coosa, I've noticed that most of these lakes that they keep, that they drop on the winter pool, it just seems like that they're not as good a fisheries as the ones that they don't mess with the levels on. I don't know if it messes with the spawns or what it does, but it just seems like the ones that stay at the same pool year round, they just seem to be a lot better fishery to me all year round.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and we're going to have times when the water gets up and goes down and goes up and goes down, but we'll just have to deal with that. How's the fishing down south?
It's getting better right now. A few of us went out Saturday and we caught 8, 10, 12 a boat. So they were biting nothing over 20, but it wasn't like the Dead Sea like it was the past few weeks before that.
Yeah. Well, like I say, it's been pretty out of hand, and it's going to get worse for us. So we haven't really been out too much since the tournament a couple of weeks ago, and we're really watching what we've got going on in Mississippi right now, simply because we're looking at a tournament in Keokuk the 12th, and right now it's really, really high up there, so we're keeping our eye on that and trying to get things going. But around here, from what I've gathered, there's not too many people catching any fish. I don't know if they're still on the spawn or if they're getting ready to come off the nest or just what, but normally you hear some people catching a few fish and people, people posting of what they're doing, and it's just been pretty quiet, so I'm guessing that there's not a whole lot going on right now.
Yeah, let me get with everybody on this scale giveaway real quick.
Sure.
We got 2 of these Rapala 50-pound scales. We're going to give them away to 2 participants. All you have to do is get on our Catfish Weekly page or our Catfish Weekly group and post some pictures of some catfish, your family holding catfish, your family in the boat, fishing. Just show us some good times. We're going to pick a couple of people and give these scales away. Hopefully we'll be able to announce the giveaway next Monday night.
Well, I know that there's some guys doing that, Chuck. We had some new ones on this morning early. I've been gone this afternoon and didn't get to check it this afternoon, but I knew there was a guy that posted a couple pictures this morning, and they'll be entered in there now, so that'll be all good for everybody. And
Oh
them
yeah.
scales are a real good product. Are they 50 pounders?
Yeah, these are 50 pounders. You know, I I don't ever get uh, my 110 pound scales out unless these right here say overload, which isn't very often. But these are good to have around. You know, when my 30-pound boga grips, you know, when they bottom out, then I grab a set of these, and you know, they're good to have in a tournament. You can just, if you know how much your net weighs, as soon as you net a fish, you can just hook these Rapala digital scales up, weigh them, and you can cull your fish right there on the spot. If you keep everything wrote down, you know what you got in your live well, sit there and cull them. Um, you know, and if you know, they're, you know, 18 or 20 bucks. So if you drop them in the lake or break them or something like that, you're not out of a whole lot of money either.
Well, that sounds like a real good deal, and somebody will enjoy those, and hopefully we get the next giveaway thing up for July and get it going. Chris should be back next week. He's on vacation this week, and we get in there and get going. We got 8 or 9 viewers on tonight. I can't believe we don't have any questions. Usually we get a lot of questions.
Oh, Ronald ain't on there?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
oh yeah. He's trying to get over knocking the hole in the side of his boat when he made his trip to Missouri. That's a heck of a way to celebrate his first trip over here to the Mississippi River. It hit a sunk buoy and ripped the side out of his lun, and sounds like he's going to be getting a new one, so I'm all happy for him. Nobody got hurt. That was the main thing. Um, he called me right when it happened, and Cindy and I rushed down to find him, and we got him found and got them all towed up to our. We didn't have to actually tow them, but we loaded all their stuff on our boat and got them to a ramp where a friend of mine was waiting, and he had a trailer there, and they loaded it up and seen the damage. He took them around quite a little drive actually to get their boat and trailer and got them loaded up. And like I say, the main thing was that nobody got hurt. They got home safely, and looks like he's going to be getting him a new lun.
That's that's good to hear.
Yep, yep. We was really excited that Ron and Chris's wife, made the trip all the way to Indiana to fish that Jack and Jill tournament, and we was just having a blast. And he called me. We hadn't got it set up on our first spot yet, but you got to go. You don't know how much trouble they're in or anything like that, and being the great friends that Ron and Chris are, whatever you got to do is what you got to do to make sure that they're safe.
Yeah, didn't somebody get like a new Cubs license plate trim or something?
He got a trim ring around his Dodge diesel. Yeah, it said St. Louis Cardinals on it. He was so proud of it. He was so proud of that. He drove that all the way back to Indiana like that.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, it was pretty nice. I was impressed. I didn't get to put it on there, but I'm not gonna say that I didn't know about it. I see Aaron Wheatley's joined us. Are we jacked up for the Monsters of the Ohio? Yes, Aaron, we are. I think everybody's waiting and can't hardly stand it. You should already had it moved up so we could already be there.
Yep, I'm counting down the days. That's going to be my week's vacation this year, and I know it's going to be worth every minute of it.
It is. It's and if the fishing happens to be not as great as it could be, or you don't happen to find them and everybody else does, that's one of the most fun tournaments that you ever will be at if you haven't been to it. We go down there, and last year the Ramada, I believe, is where we stayed, and there was just complete chaos down there with the parking lot and everybody helping each other back in and unhook their boats and running around. And I think for 2 or 3 nights our motel room door was basically open and everybody running in and out and and visiting, and we talked about fishing rods and reels and boats and catching fish and drifting, and how each other done different things, and it was a very, very much entertaining idea, and got to meet a lot of the people that we hadn't seen in a long time, and got to meet some new ones, and got to get on Janet a little bit about our Cincinnati Reds, and it's just a great time. If you're lucky, you might get to see Ryan Casey sing some karaoke. I mean, there's been some strange things happen down there.
Yeah, and a lot of people you talk to, they really don't understand. And like at the beginning of the year, around Christmas time, I asked Leanne. I said, "Well, you want to go on our cruise this year, or you want to go to Monsters, Ohio?" I mean, she didn't think twice. She said, "Let's head to Owensboro."
Absolutely, absolutely, and it's a great time, and the whole town's behind that. But the reason why that tournament is so good is the effort that Aaron puts into that. Aaron really puts a lot of time and energy into that, and for himself, and he does an outstanding job. And I believe that everybody that has anything to do with fishing in Owensboro stands behind him and makes sure that everything is done right. And it's just a really good place to have tournaments. They've done an outstanding job making that riverfront an awesome place. And he's reminded me, how about them Kearns guys? Them Dale and his son, them guys are on fire down there. They won another tournament yesterday or Saturday, and they're just tearing it up down there. On that stretch of water, them and the Massonville boys are about as tough as there is now.
Yeah, they're knowing something. Yeah, I'm gonna try to put a tracking device on that boat or something when I find it.
They really work hard at it, but I don't know how you feel about this, but this is my my way of thinking about that. You get some of these guys like the Kearnses, like Daryl and Jason Mascoville, Jeff Dodd, some of them guys that are consistently in the top 5 or so. Honestly believe that those guys have figured out something that works for them that everybody else hasn't figured out, or they are doing something a little bit different than everybody else is that's working for them that everybody hasn't got that. They've got some kind of little glitch that just is hitting it. And I know these guys spend a lot of time on the water, and they put their time in looking for fish and making sure everything is right. But I don't know whether they've got bait presentation or whether it's a different hookup ratio on a hook. I don't know what it is, but they've got something figured out that's working for them down there, and congratulations to them for doing that, because they're staying on top of their game with whatever it is that they're doing.
Yeah, they it's easy after you get out there a while. I'll get into little swings like that to where I'll think I got it figured out, and then I let myself down. But if you can figure out the little bit of pressure systems, and are they going shallow? Are they going to be going in and out of the channel? Or are they going to be running the channel edge? You just try to figure out where you think they're going to be, and then go after them. But I've seen guys up on the Tennessee River. Some of them guides up there. I'd bet on the channel edge fishing all day and not even get a bite. And they're throwing up pictures of 60 and 70 pounders, and they're saying, "Look what I found in 4 foot of water." And I'm like, how in the heck did you do that?
Yeah, I know. Right now I think Cindy is always on me about not fishing shallow water, and I'm bad not to fish shallow water. I don't like fishing shallow. It's kind of like lakes. I don't like to fish lakes because they don't have any current in them. But right now, I believe as these blues come off the nest, that they'll be chasing them shad up on them shallow flats, and I honestly think that would be where I would be going if I was out looking for fish tomorrow. I would be looking for a channel edge with a flat, and I'd be up on top of that baby looking for shad. And if there was shad up there, I know them blues, if they're off the nest, they would be up there after them. But you know, in a week or two, I'd be back out to my 15, 20, 30 foot of water uh, where I feel like I should be at that time. But, you
So,
know,
so what do you think about Aaron coming in fourth? You see that?
was it fourth or third?
I think it was fourth.
Whatever it was, that was an outstanding job. I talked to him the night before on the phone, and I'm very happy for Aaron and his partner. They done a really good job. Uh, I know he lives down there.
That was third place. They came in third.
Yeah, that's what I
Third.
thought. But you know, you can live in an area and not be not go down there and win all the time. But he had told me that he'd found some fish and evidently they happened to be biting that day because third place is outstanding position. And Dave Ashby and oh shoot, I can't think of his name now. Uh,
Adam Winder.
Adam Winder, yeah, they got fourth, I believe, wasn't it? And that's a really good finish for them guys. Congratulations on that. I can't remember all the finishing places, but that was really good for Adam and Dave to come in there and hit a lick like that. Dave traveled a long way to fish that tournament with Adam, so that's a really good deal. But yeah, I'm very happy for all them guys doing good, and I guess the water's still up a little bit down there from what I understand, but not like it was.
Well, you know, I'm just glad that Aaron got out, got to fish a good tournament, and got a really good finish. Cause, you know, I'd hate to sit there, even though I had a great tournament going on and I was the director. You know, it's got to be heartbreaking watching everybody blast off and everybody's out fishing and you're sitting there waiting on them to get back. So
Yeah, it is.
I'm really,
We've done that. We know in our tournaments we get really busy, and this may be the last year that that Cindy and I get to fish our tournaments. It's got to the point where we really can't fish them and run them, and to make sure everything's done right, this may be our last year of fishing our tournaments. Which, if that's the case, then when them tournaments like that comes up, then we'll be heading down to Owensboro so we can work on Aaron a little bit. I don't want him to get used to taking all that money home.
that'll be more money for you to spend on fishing with the fishing the other trails. So
Well, it'd be more time, but we spend a lot of time setting these tournaments up and worrying about whether the water's going to be out of hand and different things. But Aaron posted he got a 36-pound flathead drifting on a whole skipjack. You know, that's just an outstanding fish, and one of the very few flatheads you hear of that was caught drifting. This is really good.
yeah, I've only caught one flathead drifting, but that was on cut shad. But yeah, that's I hadn't caught too many flatheads drifting. It's always been if I've caught them fishing for blues on cut skipjack, it's always been anchored down. And
Right.
most of the time, it's been surprisingly in the wintertime when you didn't think you was going to catch one.
Now, when you talk about catching flatheads in the wintertime down in your neck of the woods down there, they don't go dormant down there like they do up here?
Well, you know, the water temperature gets down around, 48, 50 degrees. It might get down to around 45, and it fluctuates around in there. And I think, a lot of these flatheads will stay moving around a little bit, and don't exactly, totally go dormant. Because I've caught them upper, on channel edges, late December before, and as early as, the 1st of February. So, I don't know if it's because I threw out right on top of them and it was laying right in front of their nose or something, but I mean that they just didn't roll over and let me reel them in. They were meant business and they fought all the way in just like they do in the summer. They still put up a good fight.
Well, that's good because, in the wintertime up here, we're liable to have 3, 4, 5, 6 feet of ice. And them babies, they ain't going nowhere then. I mean, they're pretty much they're pretty much laying there on the bottom of them. And I've actually in the wintertime when the water wasn't froze, I went up some of the smaller rivers like Salt River, and I found stretches where there'll be a deep hole, and you'll go over that hole, and you may have them stacked up in there 4 and 5 deep for in a trough. There's one place in particular that we go to quite often to check them when it's cold, weather gets cold, and then flatheads will be stacked up in there for 300 or 400 yards, and it's in a trough that's probably 10 or 12 foot wide, and they'll be stacked up all the way up and down that trough, and you can drag bait through it. Unless you snag one, you never catch one of them. But we're talking about 32 degree water where you're talking about 50, and that's quite a bit of difference.
Yeah, did you see where they found the guy that was missing from Scottsboro? That he was filming a lot of Jonathan's shows. He was part of the film crew. He'd been missing all month, and they found him a couple of days ago in the location where he was last seen from. Did you see that?
Yes, I did. That's a shame that happened, and our condolences go out to the family and everybody that is involved with that.
Yeah, he was. I never got to meet him. He was he was in the boat with Jonathan. I went up when him and Dave and Brad was out, but I never did get to pull right up to the boat and actually get to meet him or anything. But him and Jonathan were really good friends and everything, and um, he did a lot of fishing guiding. He did a lot of filming, um, and he was a really good guy. So
That's a crying shame that as things happen, but that just you're talking about a guy that's out on the water every day nearly and pays attention and knows what's going on, and accidents still happen, and that's why I was making the statement earlier about people being careful this holiday weekend and make sure you don't drink too much and get your leg tangled up in ropes and different. There's a lot of ways to get injured, but things can happen, and everybody needs to watch what they're doing, especially on a weekend where everybody's out partying and having a good time.
well, there's a picture of Jonathan on Facebook right now. It looks like he's holding a very big blue, and he's in a kayak. And he said
John?
he went for a sleigh ride today.
Well,
And
good
it's
for him.
and it's a beast. And I've always wanted to hook up on a big catfish in one of them kayaks. I bet it is a great, great fight.
Well, it may be, but them kayaks kind of remind me of canoes, and they're like 10-speed bicycles. My ass just don't fit them anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, he's he hadn't got his other boat in yet, and he's kind of got cabin fever in the middle of summer, so it's really
I'm sure
bad.
he does, yeah.
Yeah, he's
That
it's
is a
going
pretty
it's
big
going
fish.
it's going to be a few more weeks, I believe, before he gets his boat in, and I think he's been without it for probably a month already. So um, it don't surprise me one bit he's out in a kayak because he likes to be on the water every day.
Well, I understand that. That'd be awesome if you could do that. Hopefully, we can get back out here before long. We got a bunch of stuff trying to get things caught up, and we haven't decided if we want to go to the lake or if we're going to go to the river. Kind of waiting to see what these rivers do up here, and hopefully it won't get completely out of hand.
Yeah, we got our next tournament for the Alabama Catfish Trail that's going to be in a couple of weeks. Um, Daniel kind of planned it like this because he was raised down on that stretch of the river down in the Warrior River. It's more of central Alabama. And he said around that time on the Warrior River that the blues are usually totally off spawn by the 1st of July. It's not like the Coosa. So hopefully we're going to be able to get on some in a couple of weeks down that way. Um, and I
What's your
hope
water temperature down there, Chuck?
Um, Saturday it was I found in the sloughs it was 86, 87, is like 84 out on the channel.
That's pretty warm.
Yeah, it's very warm. It's like bath water or more.
Yeah, I don't think we're quite that warm up here, and that might be because I'm thinking they're just going to start coming off this week. You know, on the lakes and stuff, it'll be a little warmer than out on the rivers, and I know them guys are saying that they're catching some blues and stuff uh, off these lakes, but I feel like the next week or so you'll start seeing them old sows come off of them nests on the river, and by the second weekend in July they ought to just about all be done and be able to get in some really good fishing from that point on.
Yeah, I've never been really excited about summertime catfishing. I've always been a fall, winter, spring. This year I totally missed spring. It just flew by me like it, never existed. Um, but I usually can't wait until October. Starting around October, I start getting really excited about, fishing. And, most people are grabbing their bows and heading in the woods. And around November, getting their guns cleaned and ready to go out hunting. For the past 3 years, I haven't went hunting one time. I've totally just about gave that up and pretty much just totally been, targeting trophy catfish in the winter now.
Right? Yeah. I went for a long stretch where I didn't hunt at all, and last 2 or 3 years I did quite a little bit of it, and but this year is probably going to be back to the fishing because fall and winter are two of the best times to find trophy fish. Um, for some reason, and I don't know why it is, it just seems to work out that way. But with the if the water stays up in the 18 to 22 foot range, them guys down in St. Louis will be in heaven down there because with high water and pretty good current below that Alton Dam, they'll just absolutely have their way with them big gold blues, and you'll see some giant numbers come out of there this year if the water continues to stay up like that.
Yeah, if they start pushing us current, they're talking about on the Coosa River that they want to try to have some type of water flow 24 hours a day instead of totally shutting the water off. And I haven't heard how they're going to do it yet. With one generator running on the Coosa, it's usually between 8 and 10,000 CFS or so. So I don't know if they're just going to, figure out some way to, just spill a gate or, something. But they're thinking it's going to help with the pollution and, keeping the water a lot more clean. Right now, they'll leave it off for a half a day, and uh, it just seems like it lets everything settle to the bottom, and then I think that's a lot of the pollution is able to when they leave the water running, it seems to disperse better. It don't stay in one spot and is able to settle when somebody pollutes the river. So I think that's what
Right.
they're focused on right now.
Are you on where you can see what people are writing on our live chat?
No, I haven't got back on there. I was on there a
Let
few.
me, let me run something by you here. What are your feelings on the lawsuit against Kentucky Fish and Wildlife that has been filed by the commercial fishermen from Kentucky? Do you think that's a legitimate deal or a stall tactic? Do you think it's just something they're trying to do to drag this out as long as they can?
Of course. And I don't. They ought to just go double their focus right now to to shut them on down more. If they did them so good, on these regulations, they pretty much um, just pretty much made some regulations where nothing would really change. Because if you get whatever it was, 4 catfish over 40 inches in one day, that's I mean would be the perfect day for any fisherman. I mean, if you're able to do that, even if you release them. But I mean, if you do that day after day, um, that's a lot of big fish. So I think they're just stalling right now. And if I was Kentucky, I would pretty much be trying to find a way to get back at them for this.
Well, my feelings about that is that the commercial guys has got a lot of money, and they're trying to flaunt their money around because they know that the average Joe and the people that's fighting this don't have that kind of money. And if the state had any stones to them whatsoever, they would go in there and cut half again what they took away from the guys pulling this crap. They've let them commercial guys have too much power, and they need to just slap them upside the head and say, boys, enough's enough. Now, we give you a fair shake. Now we're going to take that much again because you want to drag this out and not accept what we set up. Now, granted, that's not going to happen. I know it's not going to happen. You know it's not going to happen. But when you get money into politics, that's the kind of crap that goes on. And that's the only way you're going to stop it is the lawmakers down there step up and grow a pair and hit them guys where it counts right in their wallet.
Yeah, I'm not really sure the whole deal on that. I'm down here in Alabama. I try to keep up with it as much as possible, but to me it seems like they're trying to stall, to keep these regulations from even starting up, and really everything's in their favor. I mean, at least something has got started, and uh, the sport is starting to be recognized. So there's always room for improvement, but they're still getting. If they can keep unlimited under 40 and 4 over 40 a day, that is still a whole lot more than I would agree with. That's just totally ridiculous right there.
Well, they've got a 1 over 35 from Cannelton up to West Virginia. If they can make it 1 over 35 from Cannelton to West Virginia, there's no reason they can't make it 1 over 35 for the whole rest of that river, too. The reason that river's in the shape it's in now is from over harvesting, and everybody knows that it's been over harvested. And the recreational fishermen and the tournament guys, they're not the one that's over harvesting. The over harvesting is done from the commercial guys and the guys that own them pay lakes. It goes out there and takes all them big fish and either takes them and sells them to be butchered, or that they put them in their pay lakes to be starved to death. And regardless of what happens to them, the fact is that they're just absolutely taking too many of them out.
Yeah, I couldn't believe my eyes when I seen a lot of photos of some guys out that work for these pay lakes. I don't know if they were owners or pay lakes were paying them, and they were out, with just loads of hoop nets full of these big flatheads and blues. I mean, it was just unbelievable that how many they're hauling out of there, and just by the truckloads.
Well, and I've been telling people for the last 2 or 3 years, I said, everybody thinks that the only place that they're getting those fish is out of the Ohio River, and that's not true. We know now for a fact that they're coming to the Mississippi River, and they've been caught. People know that they're coming over here, and if you think it's the Ohio River is the only place that them clowns are working, is you're badly mistaken. And the way we get this stopped is people that have video cameras. You go up and you take videos of them guys taking 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,000 pounds of fish out of them rivers with their nets and stuff, and where their boats are level full, and you send that to your DNR or your Department of Conservation and show them guys what's happening. It's a natural resource for all of us, not just for commercial guys. If they want a commercial fish, there's plenty of common carp, Asian carp. There's everything under the sun that's undesirable that never was here to begin with, and there's plenty of those for them to get. There's no reason to take all the catfish out. One of the things that bends me the worst is the fact that if you get caught taking a bass, which is not fit to eat to start with, it's only the breakfast of a good blue or a flathead anyhow. And if you take that thing across state lines alive, and you get caught, you're probably going to go to jail. But yet they let them haul these live catfish across state lines every day and don't do a damn thing about it. And that's just completely ridiculous.
I mean, what do you think these commercial fishermen are thinking? Do they want to just clear the river out and hope that they don't run out of catfish before they retire? I
Well,
mean,
I think they believe that there's no end to this to the big fish, but they the ones that should know. They're not telling me that they're still getting abundances of 50, 60, 70 pound fish because they're just not there like they once was. Now there's areas where you can get some big fish once in a while, but that Ohio River has just been pilfered to where there's, it's terrible to have such a great fishery be destroyed like it's been destroyed, and these states sit there and let this happen and don't do anything about it. Like I say, these representatives and congressmen, whoever's in charge of that down there, grow a pair. You've been elected to do a job. Do your job, do it correctly, and make your constituents happy. If you make a few commercial guys mad, that's just too bad. I mean, that's what you got elected. Them two or three commercial guys did not put you in office. It's these fishermen that go out there day after day after day and spend their hard-earned money buying these fishing licenses year after year after year. Them's the guys that elect you and put you in office.
yeah, and I don't know, if them commercial guys are able to be able to afford to pay some of these guys off or whatever. I don't know if any of that goes on, but if some of that's going on, and it just seems like I understand commercial guys, that especially the ones that's been doing it for a while, that's their lifestyle. Um, there is becoming a market for Asian carp, so I mean, even if it's a lot cheaper per pound, it seems like they could just get tons of that stuff if they wanted to.
They
I mean,
can't.
I would want to, just go, be able to go for the tonnage.
Well, and granted, it's probably not as much per pound, but there's such, you talk about an unlimited supply. If you want to be able to harvest something where there's unlimited numbers, Asian carp, big head, whatever you want to call them, silver carp, there is an unlimited supply of those. And I know that a few years ago they was looking into making dog food out of Missouri Columbia University of Columbia. I know that they're exporting it to China and places, and the United States, of all places, think they need to feed the world. Well, let's feed them these Asian carp and eradicate them from the rivers that are not supposed to be there anyhow. Catch all them dudes and ship them over to these places that need something to eat instead of sending them our grain and stuff and driving the prices up where the average guy can't afford to go out and buy anything.
That's correct. Do you know if there's a big market for the Asian carp yet? Have you heard anything?
I do know that they're working on two places to take care of them. There's one in Illinois and one down south, and once they get those rolling and once they get to producing stuff, they can can this stuff and they can prepare it all different ways. And I understand it's quite good eating. I personally haven't ate it myself, but my brother-in-law has. He's had some smoked and different ways, and he says it's really good. And I know it's a huge thing overseas. They eat it all the time, so it's very white meat. So I see no reason that they pardon me, that they can't prepare it, ship it out, feed it to these third world countries that's starving to death every day. If they want to send them something instead of sending them money, send them Asian carp. I'm all for that.
Yeah, I think there should be a pretty good market for it. I mean, if there's tonnage of it, there's got to be a market for it where people
Sure.
can make a killing at it.
One other thing about the regulations down in Kentucky is these regulations was passed by the legislation and the Fish and Wildlife in Kentucky. There is no reason that that should have ever been changed for any reason by anybody. Once a law is passed and put into effect, there should no way that could ever been stopped, changed, modified, or anything without going through the whole roar of Congress and the House and all that again. Uh, there's just no reason for that to happen, and that's a money thing. They can say what they want as somebody's pad in their pocket, and that's how they got that stopped. But hopefully that these guys will get back on the straight and narrow and tell these guys to take a heave ho and put them regulations back into effect and make sure that they can't pull that ignoramus stuff again.
Yeah, there was a post that came up on Facebook a while back where somebody had been on a pay lake site or something where it'd been cut, and some radio station was boosting some pay lake, and they were supposed to have some shindig, and some pay lakes had a bounty out or something for a couple of 100-pound catfish. So I wonder how them guys are going to go about trying to find a couple 100-pound catfish. Are they going to take a chance on going into a state where they're going to be breaking the law to do this, or uh, they going to try to just go to the local rivers where they're used to fishing and hope they can get one?
Well, when that come out, that's when they was found. Them guys was found on the Mississippi River. When that statement come out that weekend, there was a couple of boats on the Mississippi River, and I'm not going to elaborate on where they's at because I don't want them down in there chasing after the fish they have no business bothering. But I instantly, I started getting messages about them guys from out of state being here. So it's happening.
Are they in their live fish trucks, or how
Yes,
are they hauling? They're in those trucks.
they brought those trucks and a boat. I actually had a guy send pictures to me.
Talking
Uh,
about a sore thumb sticking out.
yeah, that's pretty sad. And like I say, if them guys want to go out and net all these Asian and common carp and stuff like that, there's just tons and tons and tons of them. Go out, get them things up, take them and sell them. There's 2 or 3 plants in Kentucky. There's one being built in Tennessee, in my understanding. There's one, I think it's in Carbondale, Illinois, and there's plenty of places you can take these things and sell them and make you some money. Nobody wants to stop commercial fishing. They just want you to stop taking all the large fish out, the breeding size fish out of our rivers, catfish. And I understand that Ron Brooks, the head of fisheries, is going to take a stand on July 9th and testify in favor of the regulations in Kentucky. Thank you, Aaron, for that. That's a great thing. I'd really like to see about getting Ron on our show sometime. I think it'd be a good deal to get him on here, and we could go through stuff. So I know we had Brian Canady from the Missouri Department of Conservation on the show, and really that was a great show. We had a great time with Brian. He's an outstanding guy, and I feel like Ron would be also a very good guest on the show too.
So what all is this lawsuit about? Are they suing because of these regulations and saying it's hurting their style of living, or?
I'm not really sure. Something to that effect, basically. They want to be able to take all the fish they want, and nobody say anything to them, and that's just completely ridiculous.
No, you got to have conservation.
And they're not. They haven't for years, and it's time they stepped up to the plate and realized what they've been doing for the last 50 years is wrong, and now they're going to have to fall back into what should have been done years before now.
Yeah, we have pay lakes in Alabama. I don't know if any of them are taken out of our rivers and stuff. All of our pay lakes are regulated. That they got to be checked. We have just as many commercial fishermen as we did, 25 years ago. I see them on the river every time I'm out. And that they were all for the conservation. They were, they wanted their catfish there to be able to make a living on. So they wanted to keep these pay lakers out of Alabama also. That was the big deal, was keeping all these big catfish from crossing the Alabama line. So the commercial fishermen down here, they were on board with the sportsmen just as much, as anybody else. They wanted to keep those live fish trucks from crossing the state lines.
Well, there's, like I said a while ago, there's no reason. If you come into Illinois, for example, if you live in Missouri and you cross the Mississippi River and you go over there and you capture a deer that's got a big old rack on him and you start across that river with that fish and you get caught, they ain't no telling how long you'd be in prison for doing that, because that's illegal to bring a wildlife animal of any kind across state line. But now it's okay if you catch a 90 or 100-pound blue cat and haul it from Missouri or Illinois or wherever to Indiana or Kentucky or Ohio, and to me, those guys should be instantly put in jail for the rest of their life. There's no reason to do that. If you can't do it with a deer or anything else, you shouldn't be able to do it with the catfish. Wildlife's wildlife. Doesn't matter if swims, walks, crawls, slithers. It doesn't make any difference. If you cross the state line, it should be illegal, and you should get serious consequences for that.
Yeah, the United States government, they cannot control all the conservation of anything. So, that's pretty much up to each state to do it. They try to regulate all the federal parks and all that stuff, but the states have got to be able to handle their own and stand up and keep their wildlife, their fish and game, to where they're going to be able to have tourists come in, fish their waters, hunt their land, and not want to go anywhere else but that state. They want people.
And that's why we have conservation departments and state DNR departments. Keep the government out of it and let those organizations do their job. They know better than anyone else what needs to be done. And when they pass a law, leave it alone and let it do what it's intended to do.
And you got to keep fines high enough to persuade people from breaking the laws.
Well, and that's exactly right. The Missouri passed the law with the slot limit and the 34-inch rule on Truman and Lake of the Ozarks. And my greatest fear, even though there's about 6 or 8 whiny butts down in the south part of the state that think that that's wrong because everybody can't take all their money and go to McDonald's, they gotta eat every fish they catch, which is just a ploy. Is a way of them getting something said because it's absolutely not true. But if you don't make the fine, if the fine's not great enough to make them never want to do that again, then there's no sense of passing a law. If you get caught with a fish over 34, if the second fish over 34, I think you're allowed 2. So if you get caught with an extra one, $10,000 per fish, or $25 an ounce like they do turkey and different, game birds and different things. Frog legs, $25 a leg, I believe, is what the last time did. Fine them enough to where they will never do it again, no matter what. And if they get caught the second time, substantial penitentiary time and never being allowed to buy a hunting fishing license again. That's the way you stop that stuff.
Yeah, because these guys, they get fined $250. That's nothing to these guys.
No.
They pay that fine, and some of these guys are getting fined over and over again. Every time they get fined, it should be greater every time.
Well, double it or triple it, and that'll stop it. After eventually, it'll have to, because they'll sooner or later run out of money.
Correct, and they need to take their equipment. Just like hunting violations, they take all your guns, they'll take your truck, everything. Take them rod and reels, them nets or boats, whatever they got, their boats, and let them go out and scrounge and find some more equipment, and they'll think twice about having those taken out from under them.
Absolutely. I know that we was in Colorado elk hunting several years ago and got checked, and everything was all right, and the gentleman that stopped us and checked us told us a story about some guys that they just got out of Texas, and one of them shot a cow elk and didn't have the cow elk tag, but his partner did, and they watched them on through binoculars and scopes and stuff, and watched them the wrong one guy shoot it, and another guy put a tag on it, and they took their horses and their horse trailer and their truck and all their money and everything they had, their guns and everything, and was kind enough to take them into town where they could call their wives to wire them enough money to get on a plane and go back to Texas empty-handed. And that's how you stop that kind of crap. You know, if you want it stopped, you have to make the fines substantial enough that you're only going to do it one time.
Yeah, and you know, in the states, they have to make these laws and they have to enforce them. They just can't pass them and not have the personnel out there to enforce them. Most counties around here, we've only got one, you know, fish and wildlife representative per county, and
Right.
so during the wintertime, they're out, you know, scouting the woods, and the lakes are wide open. We just don't have enough people to enforce, and that's a big problem down here. Is, you know, the enforcement.
Right, and we run into that up here too. Although they are gaining ground, I believe, in Missouri. But then again, you know, these guys go out there, and if you catch somebody doing something wrong, you've got to turn them in. This free gratis stuff of letting your buddy go down the road and, well, I know he done wrong. Well, if it's wrong, it's wrong. You know, it's just the way it is. These guys, there is a certain amount of them that do their job, and for the most part, I think most of them try to do a good job. But if you're breaking the law, this grace period stuff, once a law is passed, it's passed. There should be no grace period. If you get caught doing something wrong, the maximum fine right off the bat, get it done, get it over with, get them broke to where they don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, they have to set the example and do it right off the bat.
I
They,
agree.
they don't need to wait to catch somebody. They need to go looking right off the bat and go ahead and make some examples instead of just waiting for somebody to call and then following up, then trying to, you know, drive down to the boat ramp 4 hours later to see if they've, you know, pulled their trailer out of the water yet. And, oh, looky there, we didn't get here in time.
Yeah, I agree. Just get it done, get it out of the way, and that'll be it. Well, we're kind of running a little long here today, Chuck. Have you got anything you want to go over with for a final statement?
Yeah, I just want to let everybody know, 10 days away from our night tournament on Hoyt Lake. It's 12 July. It's 5 p.m. to 2 a.m. You can get on Alabama Catfish Trail the Facebook page, and today I posted a link on there. If you want to camp, since it's a night tournament, we can come in, you know, 2 in the morning, weigh in, go straight to your tent. Nobody has to drive home. You know, just throw a tent up. Sites are only $22 a night. I'm gonna stay 2 nights myself, and it's gonna be a really good time. So, if you need any more information on this tournament, just go to the Alabama Catfish Trail page, and everything you need to know on there. We have an event posted.
Okay. We have a Twisted Cat Outdoors will be having a tournament July 12th, providing the river is within reasonable means. It'll be a minimum of $2,500 first place guaranteed money. Hopefully the river will settle down. We can get this thing done. I'm keeping an eye on the river stages right now every day, and if we make changes, it'll be on Facebook, on Twisted Cat Outdoors website. We'll post it everywhere that we possibly can get a venue to post it to let everybody know if something changes. As it stands right now, we're going ahead with it. We do have some big exciting news coming up for the year-end tournament. The date has been changed to October 25th and 26th. We're looking at a $5,000 first place prize money to win. All the details haven't been put together, but it looks like everything's going to be go. It'll be a new format. There'll be a Calcutta and second day buy-in. And as soon as we get all the details worked out, I get all that posted up and keep everybody uh, informed of what we got going. Um, since Chris is not here, I'm going to try to do the best I can with what he usually does. And although we each have sponsors of our very own, there's the Catfish Weekly Show is not sponsored by any one group, and we welcome anyone that would like to be a sponsor or become a sponsor of the show. We don't hold anything against anybody with any brands or similarities, even though most of us have our own sponsors. So come to the show and be glad to have you on. We are in the process of looking for some new guest speakers. If anybody has any ideas, please feel free to email us and let us know, or get on the Facebook website and catfishweekly.com and give us a shout. Uh, as far as I know, unless you've got something else, Chuck, that should just about end the show for today.
And that's it. And we'll see y'all next week.
Thanks, everybody.